A very good evening and welcome to this Sunday's edition of Newsfirst Weekend, coming to you live from our Newsfirst Centre in Colombo. Well, today is the grand finale of Super Fighter, Sri Lanka's first reality sports TV program. And before we take a look at your headlines this evening, let's cross over to Stein Studios in Ratmalana to witness a live action from the finale of Super Fighter.
Hashan Lakma Latauda. අහංගම ශාරිපුත්‍ර විද්‍යාලයේ මදුක මිහිරාන් බොහොම ස්තුතියි ඔබට.
What you're witnessing right now is a presentation of sports and education scholarships to selected players.
තවත් කෙටි විරාමයක් ලබා ගැනීමට.
Let's take a look at your stories making headlines this evening.
Bantamweight. Banuka Jayam. Gale force winds damage 800 homes in several parts of the island. Winds claim 1 life in Valimada. 13 injured after a van topples off a precipice in Ravana Alla. Police opened fire on a truck in Kosgoda for failing to heed orders. The grand finale of Super Fighter, Sri Lanka's first reality sports TV program, works off in Ratmalana.
And now for the stories in detail. Gale force winds that have disrupted day-to-day life have affected 5 districts so far. Over 800 houses were damaged due to these winds in the Nuwara, Badulla, Ratnapura, Munaragala and Matale districts. A 56-year-old resident of the Madagaswab area in Valimada was also killed. The Disaster Management Centre has commenced relief work for those affected.
They said that due to the strong winds experienced in the area, the university will be closed until the 21st of this month with effect from today. Student hostels were also damaged by the winds. The Vice-Chancellor further noted that it is the time of examinations at the university, and due to the interruption of the electricity supply and the disaster situation in the area, the students are not in a proper state of mind to face their examinations. Meanwhile, 25 houses were damaged in the Halpe area in Pambahin, Balangoda due to strong winds. According to our correspondent, those affected are now being housed at the Halpe Vidyalaya and Veheragoda Vidyalaya. District Secretary of Ratnapura Sunil Kannangara said that 37 houses were damaged in the Halpe area of the Imbulpe Divisional Secretariat. He added that several army personnel have been called in to remove uprooted trees in the area. Meanwhile, strong winds continued over 3 days in the Bibila area. Our correspondent noted that trees have fallen on 2 houses last night. The Divisional Secretary of Bibila, Pragit Kulatilaka, inspected the damage. 4 houses and a shop were damaged in the strong winds that persisted over the Ridhi Mali at the area last night. Deputy Director of the Disaster Management Centre of the Badulla District, EML Udaya Kumara, said that relief work is being carried out with the support of the army. The house was damaged when a mango tree uprooted by the strong winds that swept across the Pahalawawa area in Dambulla last afternoon fell on the house. Several houses in the Humbagaskamu area in Wavala, Dambulla were also damaged due to the winds. The winds that swept across the Sanya estate in the Kandegedera area in Haliala damaged several estate homes. Our correspondent said that 7 families were affected. District Secretary of Nuwara, DPG Kumarasiri, said that repair work on the houses is already underway.
Here's a look at a news item that we just received. Now, according to the UA Education Director, 80 schools to be closed in Haldamulla and Valley-Mud education zones tomorrow owing to strong winds. I repeat, according to the UA Education Director, 80 schools to be closed in Haldamulla and Valley-Mud education zones tomorrow owing to the strong winds. Now, moving on, the Met Department is attributing the strong winds to the active monsoon system usually experienced between May and September and a low pressure system in the Bay of Bengal.
The Met Department said that with the activation of the southwestern monsoon, several spells of showers will occur in the western, Sabragamo and central provinces and in the Gaul and Madhara districts. According to the Met Department, the possibility for the increase in southwest monsoonal wind speeds up to 70 to 80 kilometers per hour at times over the country, particularly along the western slopes of the central hills and adjacent sea areas, is still high. The Met Department further noted that due to the lower atmospheric depression, winds will move to that direction. As a result, deep and shallow seas around the island may be rough.
The National Water Supply and Drainage Board say that 6 districts are facing a lack of drinking water owing to a dry weather condition. Now, furthermore, the Sri Lanka Mahaweli Authority notes that 4 areas are at a risk of facing a water scarcity.
General Manager of the board, Ranjit Balasuriya, said that local government authorities have taken measures to supply drinking water from bowsers to these areas. Meanwhile, residents in Veerakatya and Midyani areas are severely inconvenienced due to the low water levels recorded in the Muruthuwela reservoir, which acts as a focal point of the distribution of water to these areas. General Manager for the South and Eastern region at the Water Board, Lalit Dizoisa, said that the water supply to Veerakatya and Walasmulla will thus be restricted.
Sri Lanka Mahaweli Adhikari Vishin.
We are focused on areas of Kantale as well as Hurlavava, Noruvava in Anuradhapura, Mineria and Kaudula, which are in need of drinking water. Therefore, we have made special arrangements to distribute drinking water to those areas because the water that is being used is from the irrigation system. At this point, we are trying to limit water being utilized for agricultural purposes.
අපි වගාව සඳහා ජලය යම් කිසි ආකාරයකට සීමා කරමින් තමයි අපි මේ අවස්ථාවේදී කටයුතු කරන්නේ.
වීලි කලාපයේ තියෙන හැම දිස්ත්‍රික්කයකම
All districts which fall under the dry zone have recorded low water levels. We are only able to provide water for a month within the Yala season. Most of the drinking water supply to dry zones is managed by the irrigation department. Under the circumstances, we are hoping that everyone gets together and help us manage this water crisis.
තේරුම් අරගෙන ජලය කළමනාකරණය කිරීමට අපි හැමෝම එක්ක එකතු වෙයි කියලා අපි බලාපොරොත්තු වෙනවා.
We were able to witness the manner in which communities in Anuradhapura and Hambantota are severely inconvenienced due to the lack of water. Water levels in the Basava Kulama and Noruvava reservoirs have decreased.
Who will emerge victorious in the final bouts of the Super Fighter, Sri Lanka's first reality sports TV program? The grand finale of Super Fighter is currently underway at Science Studios in Ratmalana. The 8 finalists in the 4 weight classes received a raucous welcome as they arrived at Science Studios this evening on the red carpet. Super Fighter is a joint initiative of MTV and NBC, Newsfirst and MAS Holdings. One of the key objectives of Super Fighter is to introduce Sri Lankan boxer who will be able to win Olympic gold for the country at the 2020 Olympic Games. Super Fighter was inaugurated at the premises of the Newsfirst Centre in Colombo on the 9th of January, becoming Sri Lanka's first ever reality sports TV program. Aspiring boxers turned out in the tens of thousands at trials that were held island-wide, covering every nook and cranny of Sri Lanka in our search for the ultimate boxers. At the semi-final bouts held on the 25th of June at Stein Studios in Guatemala, 8 boxers made it through to the finals under 4 weight classes. Isanka Sanjay of Vidyanta College, Kandy faces off against Krishna Menon Sindhujan of Royal College, Colombo in the 49 kg category. Lasit Sandeep Dasanayak of Kingswood College, Kandy faces off against Buddhika Mandaram of the Kalyani Pradeep Institute in Delgoda in the 52 kg category. Bhanuka Jayampati of the Vidyanta faculty in Horana faces off against Nuwan Kumara Amarawansa of Peradeniya Central College in the 56 kg category. Sandeep Amarasinghe, also of the Vidyartha faculty in Horana, will face Lakshan Vienage of Anand College, Colombo in the final bout of the 60 kg category. The 8 finalists who participated in the final training camp in Palikale, Kandy arrived at the training camp in Ratmalana yesterday. The winners will take home a total cash prize of 36 million rupees. This is the highest cash prize to be presented for a sports reality program in Sri Lanka. The most popular boxer will also be selected today via an SMS vote. Who will win the coveted title of Super Fighter? The winners of Super Fighter will receive a total grand cash prize of 36 million rupees. Newsfirst Zulfiq Farzan is at Stein Studios covering the final bouts of the competition, and he joins us live now with the latest. Over to you, Zulfiq.
Well, the 56 kg weight class bout between Bhanuka Jayampati and Nuwan Kumara Amarawansa is about to kick off here at the Stein Studios in Guatemala, where the grand finale of Super Fighter, Sri Lanka's first ever sports reality program, is taking place. Already the 49 kg weight class category, the 52 kg weight class category have been completed. Right now, the 56 kg weight class category is about to start as the two competitors take their corners. With one more bout left to go, who will become the king of the ring at Super Fighter? This is Zulfiq Farzan reporting for Newsfirst from Stein Studios, Guatemala.
Thank you, Zulfiq, for that update. Taking a look at more local news, the newly renovated building complex within close proximity to Independence Square in Colombo was declared open as Arcade Independence Square this evening by President Mahinda Rajapaksa. The extensive renovation of the complex was undertaken with the participation of personnel from the Armed Forces and the Civil Defence Force under the direct supervision of the Secretary to the Ministry of Defence and Urban Development, Gotabaya Rajapaksa.
The renovated complex originally consisted of several buildings that were constructed in the colonial era. In the recent past, the complex was home to several state offices, including the Auditor General's Department. The renovated complex will now serve as a luxury modern shopping complex and entertainment facility, featuring world-renowned brands and a cinema complex equipped with modern technology.
The multi-billionaire and the founder of Microsoft, one of the richest men in the world, has commended Sri Lanka, Ceylon Today and Mawbeba newspapers for their ingenuity. On Friday, Gates posted a picture of the front page of the special edition of the Mawbeba newspaper, which featured mosquito repellent paper to combat dengue.
Ceylon Today and Maubima took innovation in the print media industry to a whole new level on World Health Day on the 7th of April, when they printed the daily newspapers on mosquito-repellent paper. The ink used to print the newspaper consisted of a fusion of citronella oil, which is used as a mosquito repellent. Gates praised the move on a social media with the following post. Quote, "I think the ingenuity mosquito-repellent newspaper helps fight dengue in Sri Lanka." Unquote. Within 24 hours, Gates' post had generated thousands of positive comments and about 10,000 likes.
This is a novel idea and it has got the attention of international media in the recent past. Lot of blogs, newspapers, radio stations, TV stations around the world start talking about this world first mosquito repellent newspaper. During last 3 years, Maubima and Ceylon Today has done lot of innovation which are not heard or seen before in Sri Lanka. With the positive comments we received from great Bill Gates, we believe that we are so motivated to do bigger things in future.
Innovation is no stranger to Ceylon Today and Maubima, who printed 3D copies of the 19th March edition of both newspapers last year. The newspaper also presented a pair of 3D glasses free to readers. On the 23rd of August 2012, Ceylon Today revolutionized the print media industry by publishing the first audio advertisement in a newspaper. On the 4th of February 2012, readers were presented with a printed national flag along with their daily newspaper in view of Independence Day, which included a flagstaff that could be made using the newspaper itself. The novel concept introduced by the newspaper also went on to win a bronze medal at the prestigious 59th Cannes Lance International Design Awards in France.
Still in local news, 13 people were injured when a van toppled off a precipice in the Ravanayala area along the Ellabellavai road.
Police media spokesperson SSP Ajit Rohana says the van fell about 100 feet off the precipice at about 12:30 this afternoon.
He do that?
මේ අපේ ගෲප් එක නෑනේ ගිහලා බණ්ඩාරල මං කව එන්න කියලා ටක් ගාලා.
මල්ලි බලාගෙන.
10 of the injured are being treated at the Alla hospital, while another 2 were admitted to the Bandarawala hospital. The other injured person is being treated at the Deerthalawa hospital. The police media spokesperson says 3 of the injured are children. The group, who are residents of Bandarawala, met with this unfortunate incident while returning home from Kathragama.
The impending Ur Provincial Council election is heating up the political stage. Let's take a look at some of the views that are being expressed across party lines.
Just like in Colombo, we are drawing cables under the villages too. We are building street lamps. There are parks. Along with this road came electricity, technology, people from other parts of the country and tourists. A prize was given for local produce to enable progress in this village. Isn't this what needs to be done?
It
is the United National Party that gave electricity even to the homes of all these ministers who are in the alliance. It is the UNP that paved roads for the villages. The people of the Munaragala district will not be deceived. The people have seen the turning point. They tried and tried harder, and now they have finally come to Uber. I wish to ask the alliance what they have done.
You are able to reap the benefits of the same development. When you go to the Mahiyangane hospital, you can see it has been equipped as a modern hospital. When you go to the Badula hospital, you can get the same high level of treatment as in Colombo. We need to undertake development.
The provincial council is a training centre for embezzlement and taking commissions. That is why they kill each other in order to contest the election. If you wish to chase away this government and change the status quo, bring forth a new victory to take us down the path of change.
ඌවේ ජනතාවට මේ රජයේ කිසිම දෙයක් කළා නැහැ.
This government has done nothing for the people of Uva. We have come to these areas in the past and up to now there has been no change. We believe that the government will be shaken and its votes will collapse. It will lose another 500,000 votes at the Uva election. On that day, we will have to wear white and join the alliance's funeral procession.
අපට යන්න වෙනවා සුදු ඇඳගෙන.
Voting for the UNP, the JVP and Fonseca is like giving money to Sakviti. There is no return. Make a better investment. The UNP is a party that developed the entire country. When we come to Bandaravilla and start something, we do not make mistakes. I wish to note that we must toil to bring the Uva Provincial Council under the United National Party. No matter what anyone debates about, we have no doubt that the alliance will win in this provincial council election. Where is Sri Lanka now? Look at the highway system. If you were to place a brick on the accelerator as you leave Mahiyangana, you will be in Badulla within half an hour.
Samantha Vidyaratna has been named the group leader of the JVP for the upcoming Uva Provincial Council election. Now, at a media briefing held today, the JVP's propaganda secretary MP Vijay Teherat elaborated on the party's preparations for the elections.
Former parliamentarian Comrade Samantha Vidyaratna has already been named the group leader in the Uva province. Former provincial councillor Comrade R.M. Jayawardena will lead the Monragala district. Former provincial councillor Comrade Sudat Balagalla and former provincial councillor Comrade Ramalingam Chandrasekharan, whom you all know, will both be contesting from the Badulla district. We have already appointed a nominations committee to prepare the party's nomination list. The committee will comprise of the party general secretary Comrade Tilvin Silva, Comrade Lal Kanta and Comrade Handun Netti, and myself as the party's propaganda secretary.
ප්‍රචාරක ලේකම් විදියට මම ලාල් කාන්ත සහෝදරයා ඒ වගේම
One person was injured after police opened fire on a truck which failed to heed orders to pull over in Yalegama, Kosgoda.
The police say that the truck, which was plying from Galle to Colombo, was transporting cattle illegally. While officers of the Kosgoda police, who were on duty early this morning, had flagged down the truck, the driver had disregarded the order and sped past. One of the suspects was injured in the foot when the police opened fire and has been admitted to the Balapitiya hospital. The police have seized the truck and the livestock it was transporting. The police say that while 2 suspects have been arrested, 2 other suspects had fled.
Deputy Minister Faisal Mustafa says that peace is being abused in Sri Lanka at present. Speaking at an event held in Slave Island today, Mustafa had this to say.
War was won to give us peace, but today we see peace is being abused. Because today you see society being divided. After the war, everybody expected us to be one. Not to think of race and religion, but you see through social media, through the media, through various propaganda, people are trying to distance all of us. And if that happens, we are not going forward, we are going back. To a certain extent, I think politicians have failed in that regard. So I think civil society has a greater responsibility to propagate secularism and also to stand up against ones and organizations who propagate racism.
You're watching News First, and up next is a look at Action TV.
On the 12th of May this year, 39 lecturers, including 10 professors who had been involved in the preparation of the advanced level economics examination, addressed a letter to the Commissioner General of Examinations alleging that the Commissioner was following a political agenda with regard to the examinations. A copy of this joint statement was also submitted to the President. Although the Commissioner is yet to directly respond to this joint statement, he did express his comments on the lecturers to Action TV. Their support is important in the task of preparing the question papers and other functions. I respect them and I appreciate the labour and effort that they put in. If this is the Commissioner's assessment of these 39 lecturers, then the contents of their joint statement should be viewed as being for the betterment of the Department of Examinations and its integrity. Among the factors highlighted in their letter are two which require special attention. The allegation that is levelled through this is that the subject minister had interfered on two prior occasions with regard to the advanced level economics question paper. On the 5th of May, the minister responded directly. I wish to note that as the minister, I have not even considered politicizing the examination process, and if any person is able to prove tomorrow morning that I sent a fax to the Commissioner General of Examinations requesting changes to certain questions, I will beg forgiveness from the Supreme House, including from the opposition MPs, the very next day. The lecturers who signed this joint statement have not wavered in the face of the challenge extended by the minister. A meeting for the chief examiners for the new advanced level syllabus in 2012 was held on the 19th of October 2012 at Royal College, Colombo. There were about 50 university professors present. There were another 60 additional chief examiners. There were more than 100 people there, and it is before all of them that this was revealed. After the examination was discussed, an employee of the examinations department brought a fax message from the minister into the auditorium. The examiners board rejected this message and refused to accept it. I believe that all 110 people who were there are aware of this.
නමුත් මේ වගේ බලපෑම් කරේ නැහැ කියලා බලපෑම් කළා තියෙනවා. එතන මං හිතන්නේ 110ම ඔය සිදුවීම දන්නෝ.
කොමසාරිස්වරයා කිව්වා මේ රටේ විශ්වවිද්‍යාල ආචාර්ය
The Commissioner General of Examinations has accepted that these experts comprising of university professors and lecturers are a respected and estimable group. 59 of these professors and lecturers who are chief examiners have said in writing that the Minister of Education interfered in the economics examination. Even until today, they have constantly reiterated that the Minister of Education interfered. It is very clear. We say that the Minister of Education must immediately apologize to Parliament and the nation as he said he would do. We also call upon opposition MPs to immediately make inquiries into this.
In business news this evening, according to the Central Bank of Sri Lanka, earnings of the tourism industry in the first 6 months of the year was $1 billion or 137 billion Sri Lankan rupees.
The central bank states that the earnings from the tourism industry in the first 6 months of last year was $785 million, a value close to 100 billion Sri Lankan rupees. When compared to last year, this year's earnings show a growth of 33.8%. The reason for this growth is the arrival of 727,353 tourists in the country. 583,573 tourists had arrived in the country in the first 6 months of last year. According to CBSL, in the time period between January and May, foreign remittances accounted for $2.8 billion or 362 billion Sri Lankan rupees. The CBSL adds that this is a 10.5% increase when compared to the same time frame of last year.
Moving on to news overseas now, Israel has carried out overnight airstrikes against Gaza security headquarters and police stations in the heaviest bombardment since operations began on the 8th of July. It also said its troops had carried out a brief raid against a rocket launching site in the coastal territory. Israel added that Palestinian militants fired about 90 rockets from the Gaza Strip into its territory yesterday.
At least 159 Palestinians have died in the airstrikes. They are said to include 17 members of one family who died in an Israeli missile strike last evening. Israel said it is targeting Hamas militants and facilities, including the homes of senior operatives. However, the United Nations has estimated that 77% of the people killed in Gaza have been civilians. The UN Security Council called for a ceasefire and peace talks yesterday. It is the first time since Israel's offensive began that they have issued a statement, with members previously divided on their response. Condemnation of Israel's relentless bombardment of the Gaza Strip has also been witnessed in the form of public outcries. People in New Delhi, India took to the streets today in solidarity with Palestine against the Israeli attacks on Gaza. Protesters holding banners, reading anti-Israel messages, shouted slogans outside the Israeli embassy in New Delhi during the protest. Expressing deep anguish, a protester, Bhupan Singh, accused Israel of suppressing the Palestinian demand for freedom.
We are against Israeli attack on Gaza, and that's why we are protesting here. We are for free Palestine. People have been fighting for their freedom in Palestine, and Israel, with the alliance of the United States of America and Britain, Israel is repressing the demand of Palestinian people.
हम लोग जो महसूस करते हैं, जो सोचती हूँ कि वो आकर ऐसे समय में
In an interview with an Italian newspaper, Pope Francis has been quoted as saying that reliable data indicates that about 2% of clergy in the Catholic Church are pedophiles. According to the La Repubblica newspaper, the Pope said the abuse of children was like leprosy infecting the Church. He vowed to confront it with the severity in demands. But a Vatican spokesman said the quotes in the newspaper did not correspond to Pope Francis's exact words. Gunmen have stormed 2 buildings in the Iraqi capital, killing at least 29 people. At least 20 of those killed were said to be women. The attack took place late yesterday in the neighborhood of Zayuya in East Baghdad. The motive for the killings is not clear. No group has said to carry out the attack. Reports said the 2 buildings were suspected to be brothels. AFP news agency reports that writing left on the door of one of the buildings read, "This is the fate of any prostitution." Locals in Jania have accused Shia militias of killing women thought to be prostitutes. The neighborhood is mixed district of Sunni and Shia Muslims. And from the FIFA World Cup, Brazil's World Cup campaign came to a miserable end as the hosts were convincingly beaten by the Netherlands in the 3rd place playoff. As an added insult, the hosts must now watch on as their fiercest rivals, Argentina, take on Germany for the chance to win the World Cup at Brazilian football's spiritual home, the Maracanã, later on tonight.
The 4th official.
Goals from Robin van Persie, Daley Blind and Georgina Wijnaldum condemned Brazil to back-to-back defeats on home soil for the first time since 1940, following Tuesday's embarrassing 7-1 loss to Germany in the semi-final. The presence of the injured Neymar as a spectator on the bench also raised the spirits of the home fans as they took to their seats. But all the goodwill disappeared very quickly when Van Persie put Netherlands ahead in the 3rd minute from the penalty spot after Arjen Robben had been felled by Thiago Silva.
1-0 Netherlands, and this World Cup gets worse and worse by the minute for Brazil.
Blind added the second on 16 minutes after David Luiz headed Jonathan de Guzman's cross into his path.
2-0. The Brazilians are punished for some horrible defending again, and the man who's taken the credit is Daley Blind.
Wijnaldum put the seal on the Dutch victory, slotting home a cross from substitute Daryl Janmaat in injury time.
And that just about rounds off the World Cup finals so far as Brazil are concerned. A World Cup that has turned into a shattering nightmare for Brazil. They lost Neymar to an awful...
Brazil were then booed off the pitch in Brasilia as the disappointing World Cup campaign ended in another humiliating defeat.
What should have been a dream has turned into a nightmare, but for Louis van Gaal, it's a 3-0 victory and a 3rd place success for the first time in their history for the Netherlands. 3 times.
A wonderful World Cup will draw to a close at the Maracanã tonight as Germany and Argentina battle it out to become champions. Germany would be the first European team to win the tournament in South America if they take the title for the first time since 1990. Now, if Argentina triumph, it would end a 28-year wait for World Cup glory since they beat West Germany in 1986.
Germany, seeking a 4th World Cup, crushed host Brazil 7-1 in the semi-finals, while 2-time winners Argentina beat Netherlands 4-2 on penalties after a 0-0 draw. According to his agent, this will be Argentine coach Alejandro Sabella's last match in charge, win or lose, and he will leave the job a national hero if his team triumph in the third final between the European and South American heavyweights. Argentina's rearguard has been impressive as they have not conceded a goal for 3 successive matches since a 3-2 win over Nigeria in their last Group F match, and Sabella can also call on a solid, well-established formation. Goalkeeper Romero has gained in confidence and stature as the tournament has progressed, while right-back Pablo Zabaleta, centre-back Ezekiel Garay and defensive midfielder Javier Mascherano have all been impressive and started every match. There is of course another Argentine player who has started every match for his country, Lionel Messi. The world's #1 player has enjoyed a satisfactory rather than scintillating tournament so far, scoring 4 times in Argentina's 3 group wins against Bosnia, Iran and Nigeria, but failing to find the net against Switzerland, Belgium and the Netherlands in the knockout stages. It is the third time the two countries will have met in a World Cup final and presents a clash of continents as Germany bid to become the first European side to triumph on South American soil. Germany was superb as they beat Argentina 4-0 in South Africa 4 years ago but could not go on to lift the trophy. And they will be aware that their performances so far in Brazil will count for nothing unless they are crowned champions. Joachim Löw's side have been made to work hard along the way, but when they have clicked, they have been ruthlessly efficient. Rio is preparing what local authorities claim to be the largest security operation in the city's history, with more than 25,000 people involved, including local agents, military police, civil police, firefighters, the armed forces and intelligence agents.
And with that, we wrap up tonight's edition of Weekend Primetime News. But as you know, the grand finale of Super Fighter is currently underway at Stein Studios in Ratmalana. Who will be the winner? Well, you can watch all the action live on our sister channel, Sirsa TV, which will tell you who will be the winners of Super Fighter. Well, thank you very much for joining us. I'm Arundhati Mudanayaka. Have a great week ahead of you.